All right, Moss, how have you been, bud?
Not bad.
Anything
Hunting kind
new?
of sucks.
Anything new with you?
Well, since we never really talked about it, we can kind of talk about it now. So, back in the beginning of August, I was hanging a trail camera. I ended up hanging two that day. Um, it was right after work. Like, you know how it is. You go out, hang trail cameras, get it done fast so you can go home. And I hung a stick to put the cell cam. I like to put my cell cams higher just to hopefully no one steals those. I don't really care about someone stealing my non-cell cameras. But I was putting up a reveal. I threw up a stick real quick, and once I got to the second rung of sticks, the stick gave out on me and I snapped my ankle. Luckily, we were only like 200 yards in, but Taylor was with me and she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I just laid there laughing. I'm like, "I broke my ankle." Like I knew immediately. So she tried to help me out. Didn't really work. Figured I was left leg dominant and I broke my left leg, so my brain wouldn't work how to try to hobble out. So I just crawled 200 yards and went to the hospital. I'm sure if you really pay attention to our stories and stuff, we had a vote on there. Like, is it sprained or is it broken? I think 70% of people said it was sprained. Well, it was snapped in half. Like the inner part of your ankle, the ball you can feel on the inside of your leg, that's what I snapped off my femur. So fast forward 3 weeks, I got surgery. Uh, Pretty much I'm still non-weight bearing. You know how that goes. You got to make money. You got to do what you can. And so my hunting season's been kind of iffy. If I get lucky, I'll get Taylor, my wife, or Gunner from the Hungry Huntsman will take me out, drop me off, and I'll walk 60 yards and sit down, and hopefully I see a deer. So far, I haven't seen a deer, so it kind of sucks. But yeah, that's about it.
Sounds like bad start of the season. I still say it was sprained.
It's not great. They've been putting 2 screws and a pin in it. What sucks is though, I still made Taylor hang the trail camera where I fell, just on a different tree and not up high. I just didn't care. And 3 days later, a freaking stud was there, and he started being there consistently every single day. Yeah.
Is he still there?
No, he's not there. Well, he's probably in the area. He's just not hitting that. It's literally that spot is 100% made for catching deer on certain times. You know what I mean?
So it's like a transition area, more likely.
It's a harsh transition. It's thicker than snot, but there's a trail in there that I was surprised there was even big bucks there, but it made too much sense to me that there wasn't. You know what I mean? It was so thick. I had to walk sideways through the trail. So anything over 14 inches, they have to have an issue walking through there. But
they don't care. They like that security cover. They like
right. So what I'm thinking is that's definitely so it'd be like a crosswind going out of the west because it's up on a ridge. So he'd be coming out of the bedding. Wind would be blowing across his face going to his left. So when that wind happens, hopefully there's deer there. If not, then my thought wasn't right.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
It's finicky.
Big deer are tough to hunt. That's all there is to it.
And then
It's not supposed to be easy no matter what we do.
yeah. So luckily I have 3 spots that I have in mind that are okay, I can get to those. It's those type of spots where if I see a deer, it's probably a nice buck, which is surprising. But usually that means that you're not going to see any deer. But that scrape, remember that scrape me, you, and Caleb hung?
Yeah.
Right off of that, I don't really want to explain it, but off of that, it was on that
basically like a main road almost. Per se.
Yeah, it was off of the road, and then it's on that hard transition, and then I hung that camera high, the Moultrie.
Yeah, right on that almost cut.
Yeah. So like there's 4, like I had Taylor run in there and check it what it was a week before season and then the first day. And there was, I don't know, 5 shooter bucks hitting that scrape the week before archery season. And then 2 days before archery season, that the bigger of all of them, he came through at like 11 a.m. And then he was more consistent closer to the opening day, coming in at 8 o'clock at night. So he's close.
And that all could be with the pressure, honestly, with people in the area. It's the opening day. So
Yeah,
I could do with it too. And then honestly, it got really hot the week for opening. Like, you know what I'm saying? That opening weekend, it was getting that warm front was coming up too.
Yeah, and so he's near, and I have an idea where he's at, but there's no way I can get to it.
That's great.
No, I can get near. I was hunting that scrape the other night. I didn't see anything, but what I'm saying is I think I know where he's at if he's not in that cut bedded.
Yeah.
Across the road, and there's a really nice like goat trail that goes around the ridge out there.
Oh, down where we were at last year. You had a camera at last year.
No, I never put a camera there.
Oh, it counts
Yeah.
like that. But yeah.
So we'll see. So the guy that I mentioned that's helping me, so what he does, Gunner from the Hungry Huntsman, he'll drop me off, go park the truck so the truck isn't sitting on the road right where I'm hunting.
Yeah.
And then he'll go somewhere. Well, the first night we went out and he ended up, it was kind of cool. We were sitting there, it was hot. And I get a picture on my reveal where I broke my ankle, and he's sitting out closer to in the open cut, not the older cut. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, I got a picture of a deer butt. So there's a deer coming. So then he's like, okay, I'm ready. And then like an hour and a half go by, and he's only like 100 yards. He's like, I still haven't seen a deer. I was like, all right, maybe it went a different direction. Next thing I know, I hear whack. And I'm telling you, I'm like 150, 200 yards away from him. Like, I was playing on my phone, watching videos. I'm like, was that my phone or was that him? Next thing you know, he calls me. He's like, I hit one. So
that's awesome.
That's it.
But that's the thing with like, how do you feel about like, they're probably gonna ban cell cameras eventually, you think, because of that reason right there. Because some people think that's not really ethical or fair.
Here's the thing though, like there's no deer on that trail camera any day before that. Like the last week before that, there's no deer on it.
But it doesn't.
And we're just like,
let's
go try it.
Yeah,
like we were already there. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, one's coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like, some people are shooting deer now because they have them on their cell camera 100 yards away, and they basically sneak towards that direction to shoot that deer.
I think it takes a lot of skill to do that.
I agree. I agree.
We guarantee 99% of people couldn't do that.
But people think that's why they should ban them. I'm not agreeing with banning them, but that's their theory. It's not fair.
That's not my choice. Honestly, it just saved me money if they ban it. Whatever.
I agree. I don't have any cell cams now anymore. I sold mine. I need to buy some, but
let's talk about that. You've been selling all your crap. I heard you sold a tree stand last night in the middle of the night.
Yep, sold tree stand. I sold, what else did I sell? I think what else I sold. I sold something else. Oh yeah, my cell cameras. I told you already. A buddy of mine, he has an AX100 like I used to have, and he got a mirrorless camera, and he asked me if I knew anybody that would be interested in an AX100, and I said I would be. And I'm getting an AX100 for a good price, and I'm basically selling stuff. I have two hang-ons. They're the same exact hang-ons, so why do I need two? So I figured I'd sell one, get a little bit extra money, and buy a camera. So I was gonna sell my whole entire saddle setup, but I decided I probably shouldn't. So because I know I probably would regret not having a mobile setup to use for running and gunning. So, but I'm I'm basically just do a recap on how my season's going so far. So I was working the opening night of archery season for Pennsylvania, which was last Saturday. Monday, my dad harvested a 8-point, and then I went out. Eventually, I was off Tuesday through Thursday. I went out Tuesday night. Didn't. That was a funny story. So Tuesday night, it was super hot. It was that whenever that big heat wave came through, and I had a coyote out in the middle of the field before I even got to the tree stand. And I tried squeaking in, it didn't come in. So then I climbed up the tree stand, set up my saddle, not my saddle, set up my camera arm, and then I put my GoPro on the limb. And I sat there till almost dark, and nothing was coming. So I climbed down the stand. As soon as I get on the ground, I'm getting ready to walk out. I look up, and there's 3 does coming at me like 25 yards ago. Smoke one, but it being so hot, I really didn't want to deal with messing with a doe. So then I was about 120 yards from my trail cam with a mock scrape I made probably about a week before season started. I figured with that being that night, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go pull that trail cam card. I walked over by my tree stand with the scrape, the mock scrape with the camera on it. I walked over to it, and I had like 7 or 8 does just standing there looking at me, dumb as crap. So I was like, all right, screw it. I might as well just grab the SD card. I already blew up this whole entire field. And I get back to my house. I'm getting ready to jump in the shower. I'm like, you know what? I should just check that SD card really quick. And there was a shooter buck legit at 7 o'clock. And I was in the tree stand about 120 yards away. I had no clue because of the way the roll in the hill. And it was hitting the scrape. I couldn't hunt that stand because of the wind, but still, it's just nuts that I didn't see that deer the whole, and it was legit 120 yards away. If I would have known it was there, I would have grounded or tried to do something to get the deer to come out my way. But I guess that's just how hunting goes.
Yeah, I think those trail cameras are freaking hilarious. I can't wait to be allowed to post that on our story.
Yeah,
well, tell them the reason that you don't want me to post it.
Well, the reason why I don't want you to post it is because I know my little brother, as soon as he sees it, he's going to want to hunt the crap out of the stand every single day. Because honestly,
he'll kill the buck.
Probably. But honestly, the funny part is, you wouldn't have thought that deer had been there at all. I had one picture of that deer the whole entire time, and it was July 18th, and he showed up that night. And it was the hottest night of the whole entire season so far, and he showed up broad daylight. It made no sense. And he hit it straight.
That was the first night of the red moon. Did you ever look at that? Candy Maze?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I never knew it was the red moon until legit.
Oh yeah, I don't pay for it. Like, you gotta pay for his app, which is like, I don't know if it's like $30 a year or $30 a month, but I don't know. Like, it's not worth it to me.
But I'm just saying, like, it's nuts. But I still couldn't hunt the stand. The wind was blowing right where he came from. So like, I would have blew that deer out no matter what. So that's basically how my season has started now, and I'm gonna go into conversation. So my buddy and I, Ryan Carlson, we got a new permission farm, and it was that day before I went out hunting with that buck encounter, or not even buck encounter. I didn't even see. I just knew it was there because of the trail cam. So Ryan got permission on a new piece of property. So Ryan's like, he's had permission now for years, but he just never, it's a drive from us. So Ryan's like, dude, I really just don't want to drive there, blah, blah, blah. So finally, Ryan's like, dude, I don't have anything on my cameras, like nothing on my farm that I really want to shoot this year. I said, dude, let's just go to that permission farm that you have, and let's just go do it. I said, it's middle of the week. It's hot as crap. I'm off. I had a babysitter for the kid. It was around, it's like probably around like noon. So he's like, screw it, let's go, man. So I went and grabbed one of my cameras that hasn't really had anything on it. So I said, screw it, I'll grab that one. Went to Walmart, and I wasn't even going to buy trail cams, but they had a Wild Game Innovation 2-pack for $70. So I convinced myself to buy 2 just for that farm down there. And then Ryan brought 3 cameras. And we went down there and we just started walking like you would any other property. And we found, as soon as we got there, about maybe 5 yards off the field edge, there's a rub the size of my leg. So like that was a good sign. And then we walked down this trammer that went right to basically it's all white oaks and oak flat. Like the whole entire property is just oaks. And this year all the fruit and oaks are just nuts. So our first camera we hung on the edge of the field, there's a big scrape. So we figured this could be an easy camera for us to just grab, you know, if we're hunting that night, just to see if there's something in the area real quick, and then we can go hunt. So we put one on the edge of that field. And then we went back to the tram road and we went to the very, very back side of the property and we followed a scrape line the whole entire way back to the very edge of the property. So we figured let's farthest point back. That way we can always sneak around the property and get on the back side of the property and hunt that for a morning sit. So we hung a camera on that scrape. And then we walked the property and we found basically it's a mountain laurel patch with a big oak flat mixed in with it. So it's like more bedding area. So we found a transition area on it. So that's basically we put a camera there, and then we went to the next piece. Like this property is like 130 acres, but it's all like parceled up in different like not like different chunks, but it's weird how it's like laid out. So then we went over there and we hung a camera on an apple tree with a scrape underneath it, which is loaded. There's so many apples, it looks like somebody just poured a bag of apples underneath the tree and you should just see all the deer tracks underneath it. So we figured there's going to be deer there for sure. So we put a camera there. And then we put another camera on the other field edge where there's a big scrape too. So like I never seen this much deer sign yet this year. There's just scrapes everywhere on this property, rubs the side like everywhere. And then we went to a piece that's basically like a rut spot, man. It kind of reminds me of like a swamp, you know what I'm saying? But it has a bunch of like saplings and islands and stuff like that, dude. And we kicked up $3 in a matter of like 5 yards. So we knew it was a good spot. So we hung a camera on like this peninsula that's surrounded by goldenrod and saplings. So we hung a camera there and we'll see what happens. I made a mock scrape for that spot just to see if it would work. So we're excited to see it. We're hopefully going to hunt it this coming weekend. So this is now the 7th, October 7th. We had the cold front this weekend, and hopefully we have something on camera from the warm front to cold front to this weekend coming up. So
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the weather for next weekend. It's gonna rain all freaking week, at least up here.
yeah,
Like 100% chance on Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was going to be okay. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is like 100% chance. But like the high on Wednesday and Thursday, dude, is like 47.
which I'll be Wednesday and Thursday. What they're gonna do Friday? So rain.
Friday's 47% chance, and then Saturday's 100%.
Well, looks like Monday's my only hope. I'm off Monday. I can hunt Monday night. Monday morning, I gotta watch my daughter.
Just take her out hunting with you.
Yeah, I'd go there at all.
I would.
I could sit in a blind with her, but she'd probably cry, and then I'm not gonna deal with it.
She might be your good luck charm.
Not yet, buddy. Not yet. Give it 2 years.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years. But let's we had some questions from people that messaged us. Just some things that they wanted to hear us talk about. So we'll go into that. So Moss, what are some of the questions that people have messaged us and asked us about?
It's weird. Like actually most of the people like that follow the non-typicals will message people individually. Like I know you get a lot of messages. Eric started getting a lot of messages, but they'll never like comment on our page or send our page a message. So I don't ever really get to see them unless they're forwarded, and I'm trying to pull up what you said. So on yours is like, he said, tell some stuff about the gear, changes you make throughout the season, or what you take on an out-of-town hunt opposed to hunting local. Let's start with that.
So what do I take on an out of town hunt if I'm going out of state to hunt? So The big thing is what you're
Even
gonna,
like so even like what would the difference between like hunting at your farm compared to like coming up here to hunt with me?
well, I'm gonna go lightest mobile setup I have. So I'm gonna run my saddle, my full saddle setup, my kit, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go light. And honestly, in this situation, day one, if I'm gonna go hunt where you're at, and I had no clue, I'm gonna take my stuff with me no matter what. It might sound stupid. So the way I do it is like I hunt fresh sign, and on my first day on an out of state trip, or if I'm going somewhere I don't know. So prime example, let's say I go to, like you're saying, up north. I'm walking in on this piece of public land. I might find a scrape, but I'm not gonna hunt the first scrape I find. I want to hunt like I was talking to you about this piece of property. I'm gonna go to the second or third scrape, or if I find one big, huge community scrape, that's the only way I'm gonna sit there. And you're gonna know if this community scrape looks like a car hood underneath the tree. I'll hunt that the first night. Another thing is your setups. You want to like be on the. I like being on the downwind side of the scrape because they're gonna try to circle and more likely downwind of the scrape. So hopefully I can catch them whenever they're trying to circle downwind. That's great. So that's just one theory on that. So my thing for the person saying that they're going on state trips and advice is I'm gonna pack light gear. If you can hunt on the ground like you are this year is effective. If I'm gonna go on an out of state trip, I'm not gonna go during like early season. That's just my personal preference. I'm gonna go like later in the season, like the rut. It doesn't even have to be like the beginning of the rut or the end of the rut. Just some point where they're like from October. I'll give you a gap to go
So
out.
you're talking like chasing phase, like almost pre-rut into rut.
Yeah, so I'm saying like October. And honestly, right now we're seeing a little bit of it right now to start. It's kind of messed up. It's this early, so I could say like third week of October to the end of their season, which is like PA's end of the second or third week of November. So that time frame is when I'm going to go on an out-state trip. But I like from October 20th to the November 12th. That time frame more.
Yeah, I mean,
what would you do, Moss, if you're going on an out-state trip?
I mean, personally, I'm not going on. I don't want to go on an out-of-state deer hunt until I kill a stud in PA. Because if I kill a stud in PA, that means I know I learned enough to be able to transfer that to another area. But if I was just bored out of my mind and I wanted to go, I'd probably use the same exact gear I normally do, which is a saddle setup. Try to be as light as possible because I carry camera gear, and the camera gear you can't really go lighter. If you go lighter, you're going junkier footage and stuff like that. So I'll try to get saddle set up as low as possible and sticks that don't break your ankles, I guess. But I don't know. I think if I was going to go on an out-of-state hunt, I'd probably shoot for like a different terrain area. Like where I hunt now, it's a lot of flat land, like hardly any oaks, so it's hard to pinpoint deer. So I'd maybe try like an area that has a lot of finger ridges and that probably has a lot of oaks. Or at least I'd search for oaks. But basically just read the sign. I kind of like to look for fresh tracks the most. Like I'll try to find the most used trail, and then hopefully I know when the last time it rained and try to predict when the most recent track is. But it's hard like now because all the leaf falling off. It's hard to get those tracks in the mud. Then after that, I'd kind of look for deer scat.
Yeah.
If there's an area that's like, oh, okay, like there's a ton of deer scat here, maybe I'll look there. Basically, I don't know. I have a hard time with the scrape stuff and the rubs. Like if there's an area where like every tree is rubbed, like okay, we're probably close. But like I won't specifically follow a rub line more than 150 yards. If I follow a rub line for 150 yards and I don't find a cluster of rubs, like I don't care. And like this time of year, like, yeah, scrapes are getting more active and stuff, but like if you don't have trail cameras, which I kind of like the idea of not even running trail cameras because one, you don't know what's there and you don't know what you're going to be able to shoot. So that makes it more exciting when just say you happen to kill a bigger buck. But it also like when you don't run those trail cameras on scrapes, you don't know if that fresh print's from 2:30 the past morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your tracking abilities, you can't test that unless you got like a high pressure system, perfect weather. That scrape is a really good scrape. It's really tore up. It smells. I'm probably not going to sit on it. And maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't kill deer.
Wow. Whenever I went to Ohio, I had the same kind of scenario where I went up to Oak Point and I hunted a scrape that was on that point, like I was saying, like the not the top of the freaking point, but on like the mid tier. You know what I'm saying? Almost like you start
Yeah, the top
going,
2/3.
yeah, top 2/3, like where I like to hunt for the most part. We're going on that line, and right where they were cruising out all day long, it was, November. I had I had a stud come in. I didn't get a good shot. Like I couldn't get a shot on it, and then I shot my buck that I shot that year, which was like a just normal 8 pointer. But like I'm saying, anything like it's honestly a lot of luck too, and that's just how hunting is. A little bit of skill being in the right area, and then just having that animal do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if you're hunting a new area, like, don't be afraid to like drive around too.
Yeah.
Like, see where everyone else is hunting. Where everyone else is hunting, and mostly if like say you go to Ohio, you have Ohio plates there. More than likely, they're a local.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably like in an area that has deer, but like base that off of okay, they're probably going in this direction. If I circle around this ridge on the right, take the long way, maybe I'll be able to catch the deer that he's spooking by his wind. And
Oh,
that's another thing. Like people, like I don't know, I think they predict wind, like they play the wind a little bit, the wind game a little bit too much, like with like scent control and crap. Like play the wind correctly with your entrance and exit. Like it helps a lot. But then again, like mostly like big woods deer, they're not 100% patternable. They're not going to run the same exact trail every single day.
yeah.
Even if you have a trail camera there, like the one camera Taylor sat at today, I haven't had a deer on there in like 3 weeks. She saw 3 deer this morning. Like
Yep.
they go around the trails and stuff.
Yeah,
So
they know. I think they honestly sometimes deer do know where the trail cams are at. They go right behind it.
oh, I agree. I think they can hear them. But
Yeah. All right. So like going off of that, like what we're talking about, if you're going on an out of state trip and you want to plan on what your game plan is when you're going on an out of state trip, and a lot of people ask me, I had a guy ask me, if I'm going on an out of state trip, where would I go and what would I do? So I've gone on now 3 or 4 different ones, but it was for turkey. Not I went on one for deer. My bad. So if you're going on an out of state trip, the big thing is prepare for food. Have your food lined up. If you're going with a group of people, just split the cost of the food. Go to your local Walmart there. I don't like really packing up my vehicle the way to the brim. I like buying it at a local Walmart in that area, and then pick ice and stuff like that or coolers. Bring yourself like we took a like little tiny like 2 burner Blackstone. That was game changer for us. Um, Basically just stuff that you think you're gonna need that you're gonna save money on food wise. What we do, and then plan ahead on like when you're going to go on your trip for the most part and see if you can get a campground or find a hotel that's pretty cheap or in your price range and you can just stay there for a place for shelter. Or if you have enough people, you guys can find a cabin. If you all split the cost for a cabin, you can. I think whenever I went to Ohio, I think we got a cabin for. I think I paid for a week. I paid I think $200, which was dirt cheap for a week. When it was all said and done. So it's pretty reasonable when it's all said and done. I think my whole entire trips, the most I ever spent on a trip, I think, was the Ohio trip or Tennessee trip. When I just had a lot of money in gas. Ohio, I think I had like All said and done, I think I had $550 and everything to the tag and the trip and the food and everything like that. So
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like turkey hunting, you do a lot of driving.
Yeah.
Usually. Just try, like, I don't know, I suggest just getting a buddy and splitting the cost. Like, I remember I paid for a tank of gas there and paid for a tank of gas for you in the turkey trip. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it helps, but it's still like no matter what, you got to look at it like you're probably spending $400 or $500, even if it's the next state over.
Yep.
When it's all said and done.
So what's another question that somebody asked Moss?
Yeah, we probably got time for one more.
One more question.
So the same kid that you were talking to was asking like what, and he has a bunch of questions, but I guess another one that I like to talk about tonight is like gear alterations. Like what mod you do or what you changed this year. So before my accident, I was halfway in between tuning my bow like perfectly. So it was all out of whack when I finally sighted it in like, I don't know, 3 days before season. So last year we all bought like Annihilator broadheads. None of us could get it to shoot right. Eric got his first, like last year, his was shooting okay. Like it was maybe a little bit high, but he got it all right, comfortable enough to shoot them. Where like me and Garrett, we're shooting like 10 inches left and 3 inches low every shot. And we were talking about like it's probably the tune of the bow, it needs retuned. So I was in the middle of paper tuning, leveling and all that other jazz. And then I broke my ankle, so it was hard to keep that up. But like some mods I did this year, I changed my fletchings, which that was kind of like a random thing, I think. Like one day I was just shooting and I shot 3 arrows and knocked the fletches off. Like that's how good I was shooting. And then I was looking at like getting a fletching jig and stuff because I really didn't want to just buy new arrows and just for fletching. So I was talking to Alex. He's like, "Hey, go look at these Zinger fletches, and they're pretty cool. They're just like slip-on fletching. They're 3D printed. They're super like pliable, but they're very durable." So I got those. When I first got them, I was shooting at like 20, 25 yards, and they were like, I had one arrow that still had normal fletching on, and they were shooting pretty consistent. Just a little bit of tweaking had to be done. And then when I went to like really sight in, like I wanted to get a sight tape and I wanted it to be accurate up to 70. Not that I'm shooting a deer at 70, but you never know. Like I was shooting 20, 30 was pretty good, but then like 40 and out, it would drop crazy. So then I just decided like there's so many things I was changing on my bow. Like I changed my draw length, I changed my fletching, changed my anchor point, made a new D loop. Like a lot of things changed. I just decided to resight in, and now it's shooting like dimes at 70.
Yep. It's all preference. I had to reset my bow in here recently. I had to get new limbs and cables. Mine was actually right around like, honestly, I think it was right around when you broke your ankle when I shot my bow and it sounded like a 22 long. And I looked at both, my limbs were cracked on both bottom and top. So I had to get new limbs and cables, and then I had to get I might as well just get new strings while I'm at it. So I spent basically the amount of money for a brand new bow. When it was all said and done, I have basically, you can get a bare bow for the price I've had in limbs and cables and strings. So I went that route.
Why don't you just buy a new bow?
Well, I like my bow that much that I decided I'm gonna just stick with what I have, and I think I spent. I mean, I spent $350 when it was all said and done, which wasn't terrible. No, wait, no, 450. I spent. Sorry,
it's still not even close to a new bow.
I could buy a Bear Adapt for $500, dude.
Okay, but it's a Bear Adapt. It's not.
It's a nice bow.
It's a good bow.
I shot it.
Great bow.
That's a good bow. I shot it and I like it a lot. I honestly liked it just as much as I like how to kind of wild thing. They actually are really, really good for what they are. I saw him firsthand. I'm telling you right now, spit out the freaking areas pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. So the bear, we're not even gonna down with that, but so basically that's what I did. I got the new strings and cables, and then I got my recurve all ready. If I ever want to decide to do it, I'm not confident enough to just tell myself to go use a recurve. Not yet. I mean, I can shoot good with it, but I just, when it comes to an animal, I really don't want to wound an animal. It's the worst feeling ever. And I'm not confident enough with the recurve to say I'm not going to go out there and wound one. So I'm not going to take the risk to wound an animal. So basically, like I was saying, with things that I would change this year, I changed my whole tree stand, I would say, setups for the most part. It's different than I normally do. So normally I would just hunt the same plain old stands that I normally set up. This year I set up a couple different stands in different locations that I think are gonna help out in the long run for more like rut spots. So like my rut spots this year that I've decided to go is I'm gonna go in their bedrooms more than I normally do. Usually I just hunt the field edges and I really don't want to pressure the deer that much. So this year I decided I want to go back into the bedroom, start playing the game with them during the rut and that type of year that when stuff gets serious here pretty soon, that I'm going to be in those corridors more than I usually am.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. So like since I broke my ankle, I'm not in the tree, and that's fucking pissing me off. Excuse my language, but it is. You just got so much more. You got so much more of an advantage, but I do kind of enjoy the ground game. So basically, like my setup is bow, a Walmart seat that I'm about to throw away and go buy a freaking lazy boy and carry around because every time I sit, my back hurts. But
why don't you get one of those turkey chairs, turkey hunt chairs? You looked at this.
no, basically mine's just one of those shitty blind chairs.
Look at this. They're legit like they're ground level chairs. So you know how you're sitting.
Yeah, I don't want ground level. I want to be up a little bit because all these ferns now, that's you sit on the ground, they're over your head.
Yeah, you better off just go buy a camping chair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep everything light as possible because I don't want to break my ankle again. So basically, it's chair, tripod for the camera, a camera, and my bow. That's pretty much all I've been taking. You know, my buddy Gunner, he yelled at me like I don't even carry a knife or a drag rope because like every time I take those things, I never even see a deer. But I'm not seeing deer now, so what's it matter?
So you have to come on down the farm.
Nope. But what was I gonna say? Oh, I guess one thing you could say is like I upgraded my rattling antlers. Like one of the guys I talked to at work, he's big into rattling up here. And he said, don't be carrying around those scrub antlers. If you want to kill a big buck, you got to carry a big buck rack in there and rattle. Because if you're just dinging little antlers, like that, a nice mature buck isn't going to care. Like that's not worth it to go fight them off. But if you get like nice, dense, giant antlers and bash them together, that's more than likely going to fire them up. So I upgraded those. I got them from a deer farm. So
nothing wrong with that.
carrying a 160-inch set out.
Don't lose them.
I won't lose those things. They're heavier than the rest of my equipment.
Yeah.
But like that was another thing. Like, so my next doctor's appointment is October 24th, and I'm hoping like he's like, okay, like go back to your normal stuff. Like you're good. But if not, whatever. But like I'm itching to get in a tree so bad. But then also like before the injury, like I was like, okay, like end of October, I'm ridge hopping and rattling. So probably until second week in November, I won't be in a tree.
Well, you don't have to get high either. You only have to two-step it.
No, but if I'm changing a ridge every 40 minutes,
well,
what's
honestly,
why do I carry all that stuff?
I mean, I agree with what you're saying too, but I'm just saying, like, in your concept, like, you're worried about getting high. You don't even have to get high. You can even just put your platform on the side of a tree and just hang from it. Ever thought about that? No, you don't have to climb up a tree. Just put your platform on like right off the ground and hunt like that.
I mean,
it'd be different than freaking sitting up in the tree. I mean, it'd give you a different angle, like you could hide around the tree.
but my thing is, like, with rattling, like, you have to have really good cover. And if you're in a saddle, like, I've rattled bucks in, they're nothing big, but they are so good at they're like turkeys. They're good at pinpointing where the noise is coming from. They come out in the opening, they look right up. And it's like, I got good back cover. I'm on the opposite side of the tree, and they just know where it's coming from.
Well, we both bought those Montana decoys. I'm kind of curious to try that this year.
Yeah, I'm going to use that.
Let's see if it works.
Quite a bit. But that's why I kind of want to stay on the ground for rattling, because, like, you know, you got a down tree. Like, you can just hop in there and got really good cover. Now, more than likely, they're still going to freaking see you. But
yeah,
with the mix of the decoy and that cover, you should be able to be all right.
For sure.
Hopefully. But yeah, that's kind of all the mods I've done to my equipment. Probably going to buy a new bow next year, though. Not a new bow. Probably like last year's model, but next year.
Don't sell your bow.
Why not?
I'll buy it off you.
$300.
300?
Yep.
I would probably buy it off you. Yeah.
I don't know why, but okay.
I love that bow.
It's slow. It really is.
Oh, I know it's slow, but for the bow.
But it also only goes up to 62.5 maxed out. That's why it's slow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
What are you even going to get? Elite?
Either an Elite or a Prime.
The Primes are nice.
Oh, maybe Bubba will still have his and I can buy his.
Or you can just sell yours right now and buy it.
Yeah, middle of the season. No, thanks. Plus, Bub lives 3 hours away. Like, how am I going to go get? I could go get that bow, but maybe this off season.
Yeah, you can do it this off season for sure. Well, it's getting about that time. I'm going to go to bed tomorrow. I mean, I have to go to work tomorrow. Sorry, I'm thinking about bed right now. So, thanks to everybody for listening, and good luck hunting. And if you kill something and you want to share it with us, just shoot us a DM and send it to us, and we'd like to see it and hear your story about the deer.
Yeah. If anyone else got any more questions, like,
that'd be cool. I think we should do like a person sends in their harvest with a story, and we tell it to people. Be different.
Yeah, or we could have them come on the podcast.
Yeah, or you can have them come on the podcast. If you kill something you want to talk on the podcast, shoot us a DM on Non-Typicals on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll make something happen if you want to come on the podcast and talk about your hunt. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll see you on the next one.